Oh no, I think he's stuck. If you watched my previous video, you'll probably know by now that I love Yu-Gi-Oh! And with no exaggeration, I have to say it's my favorite anime. But even I will admit that it has some weird quirks to it. Like for example, it's supposed to be talking about a kid show / card game, but for some weird reason, the first season basically has nothing to do with the actual card game. Or at least its rules. Now we're going to be talking about one specific example of it. Originally, I wanted to make a video on Exodia, and I probably still will. However, a lot of people have already done that, and also, I just wanted to get this one guy off my chest. You've read the title, and now it's time to explain it. Who is Gate Guardian, and why does he bother me so much? Well, put it simply, Gate Guardian is one of the dumbest Yu-Gi-Oh! Monsters to ever exist. And I've seen some dumb Yu-Gi-Oh! Cards, but this tops it for me. In order to explain why, I need to explain what Gate Guardian does. So Gate Guardian is a giant level 11 warrior monster that has 3,070 attack points and 3,050 defense points. On its own, it's a pretty strong monster, but this is where it gets a little complicated. To summon it out without shenanigans, you need to first summon out Suijin, Kazuchi, and Sanga. Who are these three guys? Three monsters with the exact same effect. Basically, whenever a card attacks them, they can reduce it to 0, but only once. So basically, you can just say nuh-uh to damage.
Which is basically like saying nuh-uh to all incoming damage?
To the charge of wire fraud, you are pleading nuh-uh.
Nuh-uh! Fuck you mean nuh-uh!
I have wanted so badly to use that clip in something. Anyway, yes, that's what these three monsters do. So, what you need to do next is hope and pray that the Gate Guardian appears in your hand. Yep. And considering that the minimal amount of cards you can have in a Yu-Gi-Oh! Deck is 40, good luck. Finally, once you've put that together, you can sacrifice the three monsters in order to summon out the Gate Guardian. And what do you get for all that hard work? Nothing. Yep, Gate Guardian doesn't have any effects. It's a normal monster. Well, I mean, technically it's an effect monster, but its only effect is its summoning requirements. And that's it. So, you mean to tell me that this card not only loses its effect whenever it's summoned like this, but it's basically just worthless. You mean to tell me that this card is just strength and nothing else? For all that work I put into it? To put it into perspective, the only other card I can think of that's like this are the Egyptian god cards, which also require 3 sacrifices. However, I'd argue those guys are easier because you can sacrifice any 3 monsters to summon them out. Meanwhile, with these guys, you have to summon out Suichi, Kazuchi, and Sanga. No other monster will do. Yes, I am ignoring summoning shenanigans, but ignoring them this is one of the hardest monsters in the game to summon. And for all that hard work, you don't get much. And you want to know the dumbest part about the Gate Guardian? In the anime, it does have effects. Most important of all being that it can actually reduce the attack of any monster down to 0. AKA the monster's effect before they become the Gate Guardian. What the heck? Why is this a thing? And the worst part is, it also has another effect where it can attack multiple times per turn. But why doesn't the Gate Guardian have that in the actual game? What is with Konami? Did they think that would be too powerful? I mean, yeah, for early Yu-Gi-Oh! It would have been too powerful, but nowadays in modern Yu-Gi-Oh! It would have actually helped the Gate Guardian. And I'm sorry to say, the Gate Guardian is just weak. When I first learned about this monster, I was intrigued by it. But then, when I actually learned what it did in the real game, I just couldn't wrap my head around it. Why did they make it so weak? But fortunately, it wouldn't stay weak for very long. Thanks to a retrain, Konami has made the Gate Guardian pretty much exactly as how it should have been the whole time. A really strong monster with the ability to attack multiple times per turn, and negate damage. What more do you want? Well, how about it being like that from the very start? I kinda get why it wasn't like that when it was first created. Old Yu-Gi-Oh! Was very different from modern Yu-Gi-Oh! But Gate Guardian was such a sucker punch, because even back then it kinda sucked. Having at least one of its anime effects would have made it so much more interesting. But what's in the past is in the past. And now Gate Guardian has the ability to do everything it should have from the very start. So, as always, I've been the Gamer Nerd. And how about we check up on Yuki? Yep, still stuck.